Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go take down the trail.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Welcome to Ultiworld's live coverage of the 2016 Pro Flight Finale. I'm Keith Rayner, here with Charlie Eisenhood in the booth, coming to you live from Vancouver, Washington, just north of Portland, Oregon, at the Cascadia Classic. And we've got a pre-semifinals matchup here in the women's division between Washington, D.C. Scandal and San Francisco Fury. The winner of this game will advance into the semifinals and continue on in a potential bid to win the Pro Flight Finale.
Yeah, and a great matchup between two teams that are playing better this weekend, the best we've seen them playing this season. And there's some history between these teams, of course. They've played each other many times over the past few years. Earlier this season at the Pro Elite Challenge, Fury defeated Scandal 13-7. But I wouldn't be so quick to expect something similar today. Scandal has looked much better. They are a deeper team this weekend than they were at Pro Elite. Not only because they have more of their players, but because they've made some big pickups in the interim. Of course, the big story, they have added Jessie Schaffner to the roster. And she is here this weekend and has been playing extremely well on their defensive line. She's been getting blocks. She's been doing a lot to facilitate the offense of the D-line after the turnover, and she's been a big part of why they've had a great weekend. They upset Molly Brown yesterday, and now they're here in this game with a chance to get another upset win over Fury, put themselves in the semifinals here at the Pro Flight Finale.
Yeah, they came really close to advancing and winning the pool and going directly to semifinals. They had a very tight game with Boston Brute Squad and lost that game when Brute Squad broke twice to win. So very tight in that game. We'll see if they have what it takes to get revenge on Fury for that last loss they were dealt back at the Pro Elite Challenge.
And Keith, when we look at this game, I think one of the things we're going to want to watch for are some particular matchups. Fury used a force middle to great effect at the Pro Elite Challenge, and that's something that I'm sure Scandal will be ready to see again and be a lot more prepared for. I imagine they've worked on it in practice a little bit since then. They've also brought more offensive players this weekend than they had in Denver. The other thing is, what will Fury do against Jenny Fay? And how will they deal with Sandy Jorgensen, who's likely to play a lot more defense this weekend than she did at Pro Elite when they needed her more on offense? She's really naturally a D-line player, one of the most dominant defensive players in the division. And yesterday, she made life very difficult for opposing offenses. How will Fury respond in a situation where they're playing against a Scandal team that has people slotted into their more natural spots on offense and defense?
Sandy Jorgensen just has a larger range defensively than anybody else in the women's game. And that changes the field shape for the offense. It lets her play help defense all over the field, so it makes life easier for her teammates. They know they've got Sandy patrolling in the backfield, and she can cover a lot of ground very quickly. And Fury's going to be helped by having played against her enough that you have a gauge for what it's like, but you know you can't hang it up around Sandy Jorgensen because most of the time she's going to come down with a turnover for you.
Players taking the line now. Fury is in white today. See them heading out to the line. Scandal will be wearing the dark grays. And we are getting set to begin here. This is a sort of a quarterfinal. It's more like a pre-semifinal. So two teams have already advanced directly to the semifinals by winning their pools yesterday. And then 4 teams qualified for this pre-semis matchup.
Yeah, these teams finished second or third in their pool yesterday. Scandal finishing second in Pool B and Fury finishing third in Pool A. So they'll have this crossover game to decide who will advance to the semifinals. Fury with a surprise loss yesterday to Traffic in pool play. It's kind of what set them up for this matchup.
Here we go. Fury will be starting with a pull here on defense.
The winner of this game will advance to face Seattle Riot in the semifinals.
It's Andrea Romano getting ready to pull here for San Francisco.
And Romano's got the pull up, and we are underway with Jenny Faye fielding and centering up to Kat Radcliffe. You'll hear those names a lot. They lead this offense in touches. And Fury right away poaching the lanes a lot. It does look like they are matched up, but sitting in lanes frequently. And now starting to clamp down in this person defense. And we talked about how Fury is going to defend Jenny Faye. And they're going to start with Lakshmi Narayan taking on that responsibility. Targeting Faye is Sam McClellan. Her throw hangs, but Faye catches on the bobble. It's a nice job sealing off Narayan. And she's got Scandal in the red zone. She's holding it against a backhand force currently. And a fake from the front of the stack from Sarah Ito gets her open to the open side, and Faye hits her for the opening hold. 1-0, DC leads.
So a nice start, a little bit of a nervy start there from Scandal. Almost had a turnover on the throw to Faye, but they work it into the end zone and get the hold, and that's really all you can ask for.
And conditions here in Vancouver, Washington, a little bit different as we take another look at Ito's fake. Drives hard with a plant to one direction and then goes back to the open side for a throw to space. But yesterday, of course, the heat, one of the big storylines, especially on this turf. But today, got some clouds in the sky, so we've got a little bit of an overcast conditions and much cooler. Still about the same breeze, but
we could see Jesse Schaffner out there on the line with Coach Alex Guesquier talking to his defense. And Schaffner is plugged right in. And the Scandal players have noted that she has fit right into the system, not just obviously able to play good individual defense, but has worked well into the offense as well.
Which is, to me, a bit surprising considering she has a unique style of play. She likes, especially on defense, she likes to take risks, she likes to poach, she likes to jump into the lane. And if you're not used to playing with her, you might not be aware of when she's going to make those decisions. Right now, she has to take on Anna Nazaroff. Nazaroff gets it up ahead to Desmond. Claire Desmond, open side to Romano.
Backhand force to start here for Scandal.
Nazaroff goes across the field to Sarah Carnahan. Carnahan with Amy Wickner on the mark, looking for a reset to Nazaroff. Pressure from Schaffner, but Nazaroff calmly works her way through it.
And that'll
surveying the field.
That'll be a matchup to watch there if Schaffner stays on her. Nazaroff's been playing great this season. Schaffner gets the assignment to start.
Claire Desmond continues into the end zone there for the goal to Derek Clancy. 1-1 now, all tied after a pair of holds.
Fury doing a nice job there of using the width of the field, easily going through that backhand force to move it back across to the high side, and they work it comfortably in for a hold.
And you could see the poise there of Anna Nazaroff as she took that reset and helped get her offense moving again when they slowed down. And Desmond Endo's punching it into Clancy with a couple of open side throws.
Some really exciting games yesterday. You mentioned the heat. That definitely was a factor, especially for teams that had to play 4 straight games. And there were some upsets in every division. I mean, some craziness. I think maybe the men's division, the most surprising, Prairie Fire ends up going 3-1. They beat Sockeye. Sockeye misses the pre-semis, misses the bracket entirely after they go 1-3. Losing to Prairie Fire, Johnny Bravo, and Revolver.
Bravo also getting that upset over Revolver. We already talked about Traffic beating Fury yesterday and Molly Brown being defeated by Scandal. So some surprise results in all the divisions. Mixtape being throttled by AMP in the mixed division.
There we go. There we go.
And got a player down, Sarah Ito.
It looks like she's holding her knee in that brace. I didn't see if there was a contact there or if she just landed wrong on the knee.
Throw was behind her, so I think she had to change direction pretty hard in the lane. Hopefully she's all right.
So she'll have to be helped off the field here. She's not putting any weight on that right leg. So you hope that that's just a minor tweak. But of course, with the knee already in the brace, probably don't want to test it at this point. So
Shinoyoshin subbing in. The team's getting ready to resume play. And they start right away with Yoshin with a quick dish. And Kowalski's throw to Faye is in a tight window. Good pressure from Fury, and they've got the game's first turnover. Swinging the disc from Meister to Son to Finney. Finney up the open side. Katie Ryan, one of the new players on this Fury team. Coming over from Philadelphia Green Means Go. Crossfield throw just escapes the defense, and now Finney looking to go all the way back crossfield the other way, but a little ambitious. Alden Fletcher not able to get to the spot for that one.
yeah, sort of a throw to a spot where you hope that it will be rather than where it actually is.
Jenny Faye checking in. Flat mark here. Finds a reset. Fury's defense seems to be really stifling the upfield opportunities for this Scandal team. Some contested throws in their previous possession. Teresa Hackett now. Finding some space against this forced middle. It's clogging up the lanes. Faye winds up. Boosts one to Molly Roy, who catches it in stride. A beautiful throw from Jenny Faye. You expect nothing less. 2-1 DC.
Faye just steps into that backhand, really no momentum at all, and just throws a dime out there into the space for the score.
So far, haven't seen a lot of sloppy play yet, but teams kind of waking up the defense. And there you see some defensive pressure from Fury. It was something that they lacked at points earlier in the year, was the ability to create a lot of pressure, especially in a person-to-person setting. But this forced middle and their ability to sit in the lanes a little bit here is flustering the offense, but hard to fluster a player like Jenny Faye. Scandal's defense getting ready to pull. Kristen Franke with the backhand pull. Nazaroff picking up. Centering throw cut off. Short pull, but Scandal covers well. And they'll come out in the zone. Three players up front around the disc. Then a second layer of three, and patrolling the deep spaces, Sandy Jorgensen. And we talked about how her range allows her teammates to shift their defensive responsibilities, and this kind of zone is exactly how they can exploit it. Clancy and Desmond working through the middle. Slicing through now. Claire Desmond doing a great job popping through the middle of that zone, and Scandal's forced her transition to person. Nazaroff around break for Desmond. She'll continue the around breaks into the end zone to Sarah Carnahan for a very expedient Fury hold, but this one may go back for a call.
Not quite sure what the call is here. That is a pick now signaled by the observer, so it looks like this is going to go back. Fury offense looking really sharp to begin the game. So now an opportunity for Scandal to try to make a goal line stand here after the pick.
Checking in with Desmond. Quickly resets to Nazaroff, and she gives and goes. Desmond right back to Nazaroff for the goal. Well executed hold there from Fury.
Yeah, this is a nice cut from Nazaroff here. Just really great work all around. She gives and goes, and look at the speed. And even though there's help defense coming, she beats both players to the spot and gets the goal. I think Anna Nazaroff has been Fury's most effective player so far this season.
I mean, this is a player who's consistently been one of the top 10 players in the women's game. So she's always going to have a big impact. It's certainly a fair case to be made. I'd say yes. If push came to shove, yeah, I would agree with that statement. They've really gotten some very strong play out of Sarah Carnahan, continuation of last year when she came over from the mixed scene to join Fury for the first time. And she continues to be a high-impact player they can count on to make big plays. So she would definitely be in that conversation. Hard to talk about valuable players for Fury without talking about Alex Snyder. The rolling pull there, and Kat Ratcliffe and gets things initiated for DC. And Strick's throw will be deflected by the defense and come off the hands of Jenny Fay. And
yeah, a little tunnel vision there for Fay.
Cooper holding, resets to Chang behind. Mi Chang up ahead to Snyder. Kayla Jorgensen holding. And she's going to go with a blade over the top, and Yo Shen will be the first one to get to that for an interception.
That's a missed opportunity there for Fury. Just not a good look.
I don't know if it was so high in the stall count that she needed to take something so risky, as Yo Shen comes under for a nice yardage gainer. Dishing up to Tremonte. Looking reset, but stuffed. Genevieve LaRoche with the block. And Fury's got another chance here to get a break. Slicing forehand to the break side by Finney, gets things initiated. And Jorgensen goes to the end zone for Megan Liu. And the game's first break. Fury takes a 3-2 lead.
Well, you've seen the pressure mounting. They've been getting blocks on a lot of their possessions on defense. They haven't been able to convert until just now. But they get one to go in front here. And it's Scandal's offense just hasn't quite been right so far in this game.
And I have to, certainly in any case when you say that an offense is struggling, you have to lend some credit to the defense. But I will say that in the time that I've watched Fury this season, this is some of the best person-to-person defense I've seen them play. They're creating a lot of pressure on the mark and downfield, and it's making problems for Scandal's offense.
See the Fury defense getting set here. Kayla Jorgensen with the pull. And we're going to have an offsides here. Scandal went offsides. That's a rare offsides. The receiving team just walking off the line before the pull. Really not one you almost ever see.
Very uncommon.
It's very easy to stay on sides as the receiving team. Just don't move.
Hey, if I was on an O-line with Jenny Fay and Kat Ratcliffe, I'd be excited to get started too.
That's fair. The first offsides, a warning. A subsequent violation gives a yardage penalty.
And take two on this Scandal low point, and they'll center up to Jenny Fay.
Junk set here from Fury, sitting in the lanes.
Yeah, here we may be just in a straightforward zone. Doesn't look like we have a individual defensive assignments, and now Ratcliffe's going to throw a hammer into the middle for Kowalski. Lisa Kowalski now holding. Fury's still in that zone defense. Now looking to create some pressure on the sideline. Easily navigated by Scandal's handlers. Still taking some short options, working pretty patiently through here. crossfield blade from Ratcliffe. And one good blade deserves another. Faye going into the end zone for Kayla Strick for a Scandal hold.
Great throw from Faye. Crossfield blade, and then a blade into the end zone. There's the swing, and there's the shot in the end zone, and the defender never had a chance because it was coming in straight over her head. There was no way she was going to be able to turn around and find the disc in the air, so just tried to run to the spot and hope that maybe it hit her in the back of the head. But didn't work out, and Scandal gets the hold.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to overstate how valuable Jenny Faye can be to an offense, and you see as she has recorded all 3 assists so far, and that's just a throw very few people are going to consistently be able to hit you with.
Worth noting that there's very little wind. Well, I wonder how much zone we'll see in this game because of that. I mean, you can see the very comfortable blade throw there. Yesterday afternoon, the wind picked up a little bit, but we haven't had a whole lot of wind this weekend. Right now, it's basically still. There's maybe 5-mile-per-hour breeze at most. And much cooler than yesterday.
Pull now from Frankie. And Needy Chang centering up to Snyder. And Scandal again coming out in his zone. Jorgensen patrolling deep. Schaffner right up the gut here, directing traffic as the almost like a defensive quarterback here, a middle linebacker.
Look how many Scandal players are near the disc at any given time.
Liu looking cross field for LaRoche, and great spot there by Megan Liu, one of the new players on this Brute Squad team, and she is also having a terrific season.
Well, that is one way to beat the Scandal zone. Jorgensen will play out of position at times relative to a normal deep positioning, and that's because she's able to make up so much ground. And if you hang a throw, like if that throw had hung at all, Jorgensen was going to be there. I mean, take another look at it. You can see how much ground Jorgensen closes down, but look how far out of position she is when the throw goes up. She was covering the near side player, and the throw gets in easily, but had that throw hung up at all, Jorgensen was going to get the block.
Yeah, really an exceptional throw from Liu, and it's a tough throw, but because she has the capability to make it and she delivers it, she understands the situation, knows she has to fire it in there hard and low so that Jorgensen can't get in and make the kind of play that she's famous for making. Timeout here on the field.
Quickly get you updated with some scores here from the pre-semifinal round as we get them. Rhino up 5-2 on Prairie Fire, so perhaps Prairie Fire's hot streak has cooled off a bit here this morning. Bravo leading double wide 6-4, also in the men's division. Molly Brown tied up 3-3 with Traffic in the other women's pre-semi. And Metro North had a 3-2 lead on Dragon Thrust in the mixed division, but that was about 10 minutes ago. So try to get some updates on those mixed scores when we get them.
Yeah, and this tournament taking place at 3 different field sites, so it could be tough to corral all the scores. We're at the Harmony Sports Complex here. As the Scandal offense comes out, looking to get a hold. Scandal trailing by a break now. Fury is the game's only break. And that throw comes off the hands of Teresa Hackett. She had to try and make a play on that one, but Fury's going to get another shot at it, another break. Steph Lim resetting into the middle to Nazaroff. Maggie Rudin into the middle of the field for Narayan. Red zone offense in effect here for Fury, and that likely means a lot of Nazaroff. And inside break looking for Desmond is blocked by Ratcliffe, and now Faye is looking to get off to the races. Kowalski and McClellan taking off. Faye floats one out there, and Kowalski's the first there. Great deep cut from the rookie Scandal handler, and another assist for Jenny Faye to tie it up at 4-4.
Yeah, Jenny Faye has been putting on a bit of a throwing clinic here. That's clip from the previous point. Here's another look at this Faye backhand, and she has been money with the backhand so far. It'd be interesting to see if Fury starts to shade away and take away that side, make her throw the flick. She's had two great static backhands for scores.
I think she was actually unhappy with that throw. She did not feel like that was executed well enough because she gave herself a little hit in the forehead after it got caught for a score. High standards when you're Jenny Faye. You could be looking at your player of the year, though. Truly an exceptional player in the women's division.
Fury up a break here, 4-4. DC defense hasn't really had a lot of chances yet to put a break in. It's been a struggle to put pressure on this Fury offense. Seen zone a couple of points, but Fury has done a nice job both looking deep and working underneath to break through it. So we'll see what we get here.
I like that last deep point from Scandal, the zone. That was a heck of a throw that Liu had to make, and I think sometimes Jorgensen's going to get there. You like taking your chances, but they're going to come out person here.
Staying with the backhand force.
Katie Ryan comes under, and Fury just working up that open sideline now with Lisa Cooper. Hard no around, and Schaffner just jumping the lane on Snyder and then taking off, forcing the Fury switch. And then a shoulder catch there. Whatever it takes for Sarah Markowski. And Scandal working on that first break now, just a few yards outside the end zone. Frankie holding in the middle. No reset option yet. Nice around break, and Markowski bobbles the second one. Frankie going straight back for Markowski. A little disorganized in the lanes here, and
you can see there's no discernible stack right now.
Smart timeout from Frankie. Things just getting chaotic for Scandal, and a great chance for them to land their first break.
Yeah, perfect time for a timeout. And the impact of Jessie Schaffner. Of course, it sounded good on paper. This is the College Player of the Year in 2016. Two-year All-Star Tour veteran. Has been playing some great Ultimate over the past couple of seasons. And the thing is, it looks maybe even better in person. I mean, you mentioned at the start of the show in the pregame that you're almost surprised that she's fit in so well to the offensive structure. But you can see what she's able to bring. That's a block that very few players are going to be able to get. She got all the way around the cutter there to get into the lane and get the block. And that's just foot speed and vision and field IQ. And those things, you know, some of those things you can't even really teach. And so she is able to go in and create a block there. And now we'll see if she can help them punch in this break.
Well, we thought her biggest impact might be after the turn for the Scandal offense. She's huge throws. She's very quick, so she's dangerous in the red zone as a cutter. But it really seems like it's her defensive prowess that's been helpful. They've plugged her right into one of the biggest, most important positions of their zone and let her go out there and get blocks. That's what she does so well. She'll start at the front of the stack. It looks like isolated against Midi Chang. And she is unable to get open. Instead, they'll go the other way, and a rushed throw there from Kate Chang.
Good defense from Fury. They sat in the lanes, took away any easy motion opportunities there, and they had to try to go to the break side, and they missed the throw.
And a near block there from Hannah Boone, but Katie Ryan runs hard through it. And now Fletcher's got space with Megan Liu open. Fletcher, the second effort catch. And she's forced to take a reset. Liu. Nice break throw into the middle for Lisa Cooper. Chang into the middle for Ryan. Great around breaks here for Midi Chang. Using that high release to great effect. And Liu finishes that off with a throw to Alden Fletcher. Opportunity gone by the wayside for Scandal. 5-4, Fury leads.
And great motion back to the break side here. First, the high release backhand, and then the low flick. And that backhand force really hasn't been doing much for Scandal. Fury's done a nice job of using inside backhands and around flicks to break the mark. And a nice job there from Fury. A great stand coming out of the timeout. One thing, get the hold.
One thing I feel like this Fury offense is doing very well is presenting breakside options. They have great timing on their breakside cuts, and that gives these throwers multiple options when they have the disc. They're cutting to the right spaces, so these breakside throws present valuable changes in field position, and it's giving their throwers open breakside throws as continues. Definitely something to watch for if you're looking for some chance to learn from these great teams. Fury up a break 5-4 in this one. Game's only break so far. And Romano with the pull, fielded by Kowalski, up to Faye. Isolation here for Neda Tremonte. Forced middle from Fury. Talked a little bit about how effective that was for them last time. This has been effective from Scandal. Jenny Faye cannot be stopped right now. 5 goals for Scandal, 5 assists for Faye. She's on fire, folks.
My goodness. And this time with the forehand, here we see it again. So over to try to set that forced middle mark. And that gives a lot of space for Faye, and she puts it out perfectly into space once again. And that's got to be at least her 3rd assist, 5th. 5 assists on 5 goals.
It may have sounded like exaggeration when we said Fury's got to find an answer for Jenny Faye. It's very literal. If you cannot defend her, their offense will keep punching in goals. But can Scandal get a break without her?
And at what point do you think about trying to stack up a defensive line?
I think if they can bring it to 6-6, right? At
Right,
that point when you're looking
always,
to take half, that might be the one.
That's always the point.
And worth noting, we have not seen the return of Sarah Ito to that Scandal offense. She's one of their primary cutters, and they've just gone with next woman up. Nazaroff, centered to. Maggie Rudin holding. Another zone here. Schaffner shifting up to the front of this one rather than downfield, but Fury rushing through it right now. Risha Daryani, great inside break for Nazarov. And Nazarov's going to burn a timeout with just a couple yards to go for a Fury hold.
So want to talk it over, make sure they get this one. Worth noting that Sarah Ito has taken her cleats off on the sideline. I doubt we will see her again in this game. So we'll try to get a status update from her at halftime. But again, she left the field with an apparent right knee injury on her braced knee. So we see Fury talking over the game plan in their huddle.
Former coach Matty Sang in the huddle with his new young child.
I talked to Sang on the sideline yesterday. Said he's here as a super fan. He's not returning to the coaching department.
Hard to imagine he's not doling out a couple of those classic Matty Sang pearls of wisdom, though.
That is true.
Truly one of the great conversationalists in Ultimate. Nazarov with Schaffner on her. The Callahan winner matched up by last year's Player of the Year. And they make quick work of that. A high release backhand to the break side from Nazarov. Finds the hands of Claire Desmond for a free hold. 6-5, San Francisco leads.
Now let's see it again. Schaffner's a great defender, but she doesn't have a lot of height, and that's an easy throw for Nazarov on the break side strike cut. 6-5 Fury, now with a chance to take half with a break. Games to 13 today.
Desmond adding her first goal after a pair of assists so far. One of the young stars in the game. And if she stays with this Fury team as she has, she really is the future of their team. Scandal's offense discussing how they want to attack here. And it will be interesting to see what look Fury comes with. We've seen them go zone. We've seen them go force middle. We've seen them do person with a one-sided force. So always tough when you're an O-line. You have to be thinking about how contingency plans. What do we do if they do this? What do we do if we do that? That's when you're winning as a defense. Poe goes out of bounds, and Jenny Fay will jog it over to the center of the field. And it looks like a zone to start. At least some poaching here from Fury. See Alex Snyder out in the lane. Carolyn Finney now up the middle, and a block from Snyder, who just sees the play coming from a mile away, but Fury gives it right back. A reprieve here for Scandal.
That would have been a great time to take a timeout. They tried to go quick. They've been doing well with the attacking mindset after turnovers, but that time it bit them.
Radcliffe kind of quarterbacking this offense right now as they go through the zone. Touching it every other. Steph Lim on the mark. Hammer from Radcliffe to Fay. So go up to the first-year Kayla Strick. She'll be back for Virginia this year. Now looking for a reset. Few options, but
Wow.
somehow Jenny Fay squeezes free up the line. And a high throw from Kowalski to Roy is going to draw a foul call here against Alex Snyder. And they're going to rule that one a goal.
So it must have been caught and then knocked out of her hands.
And we'll have a point to decide who will take the half here.
See if we can see what happened there. Into the end zone. And must have said she had it caught in her right hand there, and it was knocked away by Snyder after she had stopped the rotation.
Didn't look like Snyder contested the call either, so didn't look like the observers were involved or anything. So players just agreeing that.
I don't think we've seen the observers do much of anything in this game.
Not a lot of calls, really.
No,
Very
it's
few
been a
stoppages.
Clean game. Very clean game. I mean, it's good offensive conditions. I think that's part of it. You haven't really seen much wind, although it's starting to pick up a little bit more now that the sun is getting a little higher in the sky and the air is warming up. But few hanging throws, not the same kind of defensive opportunities that we saw yesterday. And both teams have tried various zones, but they've had limited success with these strong offensive conditions.
So that was Scandal's first goal that wasn't thrown by Jenny Fay, and just as predicted, she has crossed over for this defensive point to try and take half for Scandal.
Again, Fury is up a break right now.
Fay winding up for the pull. And Fay's pull will go out of bounds. We talked yesterday a little bit about the quality of pulling at the elite level and how we both feel a little bit like it's not up to snuff.
I really, it's crazy to have pulls going out of bounds in these conditions.
Now, to be
and
fair,
I understand there are times when you're trying to make a great pull, and that means that you're going to risk throwing it out of bounds. But these have not been exceptional pulls. It just seems like it's been underemphasized lately in the game.
Backhand force still here for Scandal in a person defense, but a matchup to highlight. Jesse Schaffner on Alex Snyder. Fury's gone to this matchup a couple of times, and there they'll go to Genevieve LaRoche, who runs down an unintended high throw to keep Fury's offense moving. Chang looking for Snyder, and here you see a travel call here, but here you see the impact of putting Schaffner on Snyder. The reset just unavailable.
Yeah,
Schaffner's speed just neutralizing Snyder on that cut.
Keeping her hips square, head on a swivel, just excellent defensive positioning.
And there a block from Frankie, caught regardless by Nesfardo. And Fury's offense now on the doorstep. Snyder fires a backhand into LaRoche, and Scandal's got to be frustrated by that, letting that one get away. But Fury will take half, 7-6.
Yeah, multiple chances there. But it's the club veteran with the inside backhand breaking the mark of the up-and-coming star in the club division as Fury takes half, 7-6. They'll receive to start the second half, and we will join you for that moment in about 10 minutes. Halftime, San Francisco Fury 7, Washington, D.C. Scandal 6.
Every time we pressure rises, we play better. Let's go take down the field.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Beard Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Welcome back to Ultiworld's live coverage of the 2016 Pro Flight Finale. just getting started with the second half here of this pre-semis matchup between Washington, D.C. Scandal and San Francisco Fury. Fury up a break and taking half 7-6 on Scandal, and they will get to start on offense here. Kayla Jorgensen holding on the far sideline. In the middle for Katie Ryan and dishing back to Alex Snyder. Right now, Fury's offense has been pretty effective. Scandal only able to generate a couple of turnovers and not able to do much with them. And there's Snyder with a flip backhand into the hands of Megan Liu for a quick hold. 8-6, Fury leads.
Well, just another clinical point from the Fury offense. And they're getting big gainers against the person defense. As we see the throw into the end zone there from Snyder. Really just, Scandal hasn't really come up with a lot of solutions. I mean, the only block that I even remember from the first half was Jesse Schaffner's over on the far sideline. And that was really just a great individual play. Their team structure defensively hasn't done a whole lot to take Fury out of its rhythm.
Yeah, I think that's the only break opportunity they generated. They got a couple of turns out of Fury's defense, but haven't been able to get a lot of traction in their own D points. Be curious to see how much they go back to that zone that they've been using. And notice they didn't go to the Schaffner-Snyder matchup there. Sent Sarah Lord in to cover that responsibility. But they'll send the offense back out, which had a dominating first half performance from Jenny Fay, racking up 5 assists on Scandal's 6 goals. And Kat Ratcliffe and Fay are garnering a lot of touches, and right away we see Fay with a creative blade to the open side. A bid from Nazaroff against a throw down field is not enough. And quickly Fury is forced to transition, and Fay is unmarked. Fay holding. Forehand up the gut there for Tremonte. Entering the red zone here, looking for Fay. Fay with the greatest attempt. Oh, and a just missed there by Scandal.
Wow. That was almost amazing because Fay put a perfect throw into the end zone on the attempt and really should have been caught.
Even when she's the receiver, she's the best thrower.
She is having a game.
But it's still Fury's disc, and Scandal still in search of a break. Getting broken here is certainly not going to help their cause. Derek Clancy comes under. But her reset is fumbled there by Nazaroff. A little bit of a small window. I don't even know if Nazaroff thought Clancy was going to throw that to her. And quickly punched in from Fay to Sam McClellan.
Let's take another look at this greatest attempt. Fay goes strike. Throw too far out. An absolutely perfect throw back inbounds. And a good job defensively by Fury to keep it from getting posterized on the highlight reel.
That is the kind of drop that you go and apologize to the thrower for. You say, I'm sorry. But ultimately, again, we see Fury's D-line offense kind of cough it away. I think that the thrower didn't really address her reset there. And Nazaroff almost caught off guard by the throw, which was in a very tight window, nicely defended by Scandal, and sets him up for an easy red zone possession. Scandal's defense back out. And we'll see what defensive tactics they choose here. And a pull well out of bounds. Might be going to the booth here. It's going to give great field position to Fury to start. Steph Lim trotting to center up the disc. She'll be marked by Schaffner. And another zone here for Scandal. And quickly into the end zone here. Rudin's throw just over the hands of Claire Desmond. Just comes down a little awkwardly. And it looks like the players are discussing the play, so it sounds like a foul call. Players down the line, so it was tough for us to get a view here at the field. Charlie, did you get a look on the camera?
Well, the question really is, was the catchable disc? There was some contact, but it looked like the disc may have already gone over the head of the receiver. And I think we may end up seeing a ruling here from the observers. They're going to convene to discuss this call.
This is the kind of call where you might go to the observers just because you're not sure. You kind of want another perspective.
And it looks like the foul call has been upheld. I'm not sure. I didn't exactly see whether there was a foul called or a no foul.
It looks like it is going to be a foul.
Oh, I see. So they just made.
Desmond has to pick it up from the spot and take it to the front of the end zone while the play is live. So players are able to move, and Desmond will come in with 1 foot on the goal line. Great around backhand to Lim for the goal. And a Fury hold makes it 9-7.
See that around backhand again. Fake out into the space and then quickly getting a ton of horizontal distance covered to open up that backhand. So really, the defensive struggles for Scandal continue. They just cannot get Fury to turn it over.
Well, I also want to go back to that pull, which was very poor and gave Fury great field position. You might want to even bail out of your zone look at that point because all it takes is one throw to just shatter your defense, and we saw that happen. Now, the continued throw from Rudin to Desmond was forced, but the throw that initially went to Rudin that broke open the zone happened very quickly. Not a lot of time to recover, not a lot of time to transition in that situation. Maybe you want to bail away from it, but again, we're seeing pulling have an impact on the effectiveness of defensive points.
So Fury up still 1 break, but they got the halftime advantage, so effectively a 2-break lead. Scandal with no breaks in the game.
Kayla Jorgensen with the pull there. And right away, Faye with a lofty outside-in forehand break throw. Comes down just in time for Neda Tremonte. Chino looking for a reset there, and Yoshin finds an option late in the stall count. Faye rushing into the backfield to recover that one. Not a lot of upfield options here from Scandal. This looks a little bit like what the first half looked like, and a foul call against Faye. discussion between Faye and Nesfajardo. At this point, hearkening back to the early points of the game when Fury's defensive pressure was just really shutting down upfield options for Scandal.
So the stall is going to come back in on 6 here.
Looks like a contested foul. And a rush throw there from Kowalski is caught on the second effort. Not the first time we've seen that today. But Strick able to sight that one up and pick up the trash for her teammates. Now Faye holding near the red zone. High release backhand to the break side. Great cut from Yoshin, and she tracks down Strick's around forehand. Nicely executed in the red zone by Scandal. 9-8, Fury leads.
Yeah, well, and even though Faye didn't get the assist, she created this score. So that's the collision from Faye. Here's a look at this cut from Yoshin after Faye's high release backhand out into the space. So DC continuing to stay right there with Fury.
Love to see those driving cuts, especially in the red zone. And Scandal's shown an aptitude for them, where you really push the defender to force them to commit to a direction and then plant hard and change directions with explosiveness. But it's DC's defense looking to create some opportunities. Have not been able to generate a lot of turnovers. Fury's offense has been very stingy. And the pull goes up here from Holder Grunwald. Recently rejoined the team.
Looking like a traditional 3-person cup here from Scandal.
A new look. We haven't seen this one so far, I don't believe, from Scandal.
No, they've had a flatter, wallish type.
A knifing throw there from Snyder. Always has excelled at just punching through the heart of his own. She and Midi Chang just dishing back and forth on the inside of the cup now. Just using some interior space to keep the disc moving and keep the defense adjusting. Snyder trapped on the sideline. Little penetrating cut there from Chang.
Schaffner's been doing a nice job at that short, deep position of taking away a lot of upfield options, forcing Fury to work back and forth between the handlers.
Scandal transitioning to a matchup person-to-person here. Fury trying to push the pace a little bit, take advantage of the transitioning defense. Katie Ryan continues around, backhand to Fletcher. Nice throw there to get Fury another hold. They lead 10-8.
And it's just great offense from Fury. Inside flick, around backhand. Boom, 1, 2, 3 into the end zone. And they just have no issues dealing with the transitional defense there. And they looked very comfortable against the zone as well. Although they didn't get a lot of big yardage gains, they never really had a high stall situation or they never had to make a difficult throw.
Yeah, the handler's doing a great job penetrating the interior of the cup for resets.
And picking up yards
and
with the resets.
picking up yards while doing so. And then until the opportunity came for them to hurt the defense with a throw through the middle or outside of the cup. Great inside break from Carolyn Finney there as well. the hockey assist, so to speak, the throw before the scoring throw. Anna Nazaroff getting ready to pull for this Fury defense. She'll sail a blading backhand to the ground, and Ratcliffe will set her up to Faye. Narayan back in coverage on Jenny Faye. It's the matchup that Fury opened the game with. Have not really found an answer to the Scandal star. Noshen finding some free space underneath. Contested throw upfield to Faye, but she seals off the defender. And now throwing a space in the end zone for McClellan. McClellan bids, but can't come up with it. And a break opportunity here for San Francisco.
Well, the way that DC's been playing defense, their O-line cannot afford to give up a break here. They need to stay close. They need to stay within one. Give their defense a chance to tie it up.
And one of the things about Fury is there isn't an O and D line, so a lot of these, it's not like this is their D line offense per se. This is just a line of players who might play at either side of the disc. They may be just as capable as the offensive group that's been punching them in, but they're another turnover. The defensive offense for Fury has been lacking. I mean, it will just get a single break out of numerous opportunities here, and Nazaroff's bid can't save that low throw from Lim. And now Scandal's in the red zone with Kat Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe into the end zone for Tremonte. Scandal's done a good job on these second possessions on offense, especially when they've been generating short field turns as they have, and they're get a goal.
Well, if Scandal is able to make a push in this game and tie it up or go ahead and maybe win, I think we'll look back on all of these opportunities that Fury has had by playing great defense and getting the disc, but then really not being able to do anything with it. And like you said, what's a little odd about it, maybe it's a mindset thing because they don't have O and D lines, so why are we seeing such a difference between the clinical offense from the O-line points versus the struggles that we've seen from the D-line points? Not clear. I think it really does have to do with the mindset you have going into the point.
One thing we haven't seen much of at all from Fury are deep throws. They have not put up a lot of long throws, and maybe shifting to a more aggressive stance with your D-line offense will avoid some of the short field turnovers that they've had on these D-line points. They're getting the disc, but then often turning it over in their own, near their own end zone and giving easy red zone possessions to Scandal. Maybe attack with some long balls and see if you can give them a longer field to have to cover. Schaffner on the pull for Scandal. Still a tight game here, trailing Fury 10-9, but an offsides call. Not sure which team it was on.
I believe
like
it was against Fury. So
one for each team.
And twice in this
game,
it's
been the offense.
Been against the receiving team, which is very unusual. But I just heard a player on the sideline say it's so hard because there's no line, that because they're playing on turf, they can't paint an end zone line. And so it's easy potentially to just be standing in the wrong position initially. But still, really, for the receiving team, there's no excuse because you could just ask the observer standing there, am I on the line? Schaffner.
It's something you're not used to, though. Schaffner re-pulling. Maybe an even better pull this time. And Romano takes the disc to get things started. To the sideline for Carnahan. And here a poachy person set from Scandal. They're sitting in some of the lanes, but Nazaroff comes back for the reset. Romano all the way across to Carnahan, and now Desmond holding. First year Amy Zhu in coverage on Desmond. Gives up a lot of height, but they trust her athleticism a great deal. But there's Sharon Lynn's reset. beyond the reach of Romano, and Scandal getting a break opportunity. They have not gotten many. Can they capitalize?
Not just a break opportunity, but a great field position.
Schaffner looking deep for Jorgensen. And Jorgensen's got that with no problem. Scandal breaks to tie it up. That Schaffner to Jorgensen connection that many feared when Schaffner was added coming to fruition.
Well, you can't ask for a better opportunity if you're Scandal. They get the disc past midfield. Schaffner gets that one and steps immediately into a big backhand and a perfect shot up the sideline to Jorgensen. And that D-line has to feel so pumped after just not being able to get anything going so far this game. That's their first break, and it's to tie it up.
Nice defense on that point from Scandal as well. Not a lot of upfield options for Fury. Forced to just swing side to side, and then some pressure on the mark. Helped create a turnover. And the impact of Jesse Schaffner for this Scandal defense can be seen now on the score sheet. She'll stay out there with Jorgensen and much of the same D-line. Schaffner ready to pull. And Carolyn Finney centering it up to Alex Snyder. Again, this poaching person defense. Well, here, no, actually, maybe more zony downfield. A lot of switching from the Scandal D. Something they've worked on a great deal. It was very effective yesterday in their win over Molly Brown in pool play. This kind of switching downfield. Jorgensen looking deep for LaRoche, but Scandal's Jorgensen is going to be the first one there with a big block.
And that's exactly the situation we talked about earlier in this game. Sandy Jorgensen is going to play what looks to be out of position deep defense, but she has such great closing speed. If you hang the throw at all, as that one hung, she's going to get there and she's going to make the block.
Fury sticking with that backhand force. Jorgensen coming under. Schaffner holding. Resets to Frankie. Offense looking a little discombobulated here for Scandal, but resets are still presenting themselves. Nice gainer up the line from Jorgensen to Schaffner. Goes ahead to Zoo, gives it right back to her. Now into the red zone for Schaffner, looking for a scoring option. And a creative little inside break for Jesse Schaffner gets her and Scandal 2 consecutive breaks. And they take the lead 11-10.
And Jesse Schaffner, first of all, gets her mark on the ground, then pivots, and then inside backhand underneath the arm of the mark. And another assist for her as Scandal gets their second consecutive break. It's a 3-0 run. And Jesse Schaffner has added so much to this Scandal D-line. It's just, it's a different unit than it was 3 weeks ago.
I mean, she's a huge thrower, and when you've got the most tempting target in the game downfield in Sandy Jorgensen, it's great to have a big thrower to put up big shots for her. It's a recipe that Opie Payne and Jorgensen used to help win them back-to-back titles. But she also has the ability to just take over a point. There she got the disc in 3 consecutive opportunities and punched in a score. Her quickness and aggressiveness and ability to get a defense on its heels is difficult to react to. Use this chance to try and get some score updates for you from around the pre-semis. The other women's pre-semi, Molly Brown has reclaimed the lead from Traffic. They're up 12-10 late in that one. These games are to 13. So Traffic face back with their back to the wall, really, and after taking half 7-6. Double wide and Johnny Bravo in the men's division tied at 12s. Bravo, the talk of the town yesterday after upsetting both Revolver and Sockeye. Will they be knocked off in pre-semis by upstart double wide? Meanwhile, Rhino leads Prairie Fire 11-10. So close matchups all around the three field complexes. Not quite sure of what the scores are in the mixed division. We'll get you updates as soon as we have them. And right now, the momentum has been seized by DC Scandal as they've surged back to take the lead behind the play of Jesse Schaffner and Sandy Jorgensen. And they're sticking with this switching downfield defense. A second half look that Fury may have not seen before. Carolyn Finney sliding to catch that open side throw. Jorgensen with the bobble, but gets a completion. Curl cut from Meaty Chang, gets her on the doorstep, and she drops it off for Alden Fletcher's third goal of the game and ties it back up at 11s.
And that's more like the Fury offense that we've seen for most of this game. Smooth, big gainers, and they work it right down and in to tie it back up. But now all of the pressure has been swung over onto Fury's defense that only has the one break in this game.
Yeah,
early in the first half.
They haven't had an exactly dominant defensive performance. Scandal's offense has been pretty much neck and neck with this Fury offense. We'll see if they can keep that up and protect their lead and advance to the semifinals. This is a pre-semifinal matchup. The team that emerges victorious will advance to the semis to face Seattle Riot, who's been a team on a mission so far this weekend. Traffic and Molly Brown playing in the other pre-semi for the right to battle with Brute Squad. That Brute Squad Seattle Riot matchup, the collision course. We'll see if anybody can disrupt that between the number 1 and 2 teams in the women's division. Nazarov with the pull here for Fury. We're coming down to the wire, and Fury needs a break.
And the soft cap should be on now or during this point. Obviously, that won't affect the total of the game, but it will set a hard target.
Molly Roy now with the disc for Scandal. They look back to Faye, and she gets open for a reset. Up ahead to Tremonte. Nice job by Scandal to switch fields over to Kowalski. And she resets to Faye. Faye up ahead for McClellan. McClellan having to take on a bigger role here without Sarah Ito, who got injured in the first half, but there a turnover. Tunneling in for Faye high in the stall count, and Maggie Rudin just sits in the lane for a block.
Fury has played great defense. They've had plenty of opportunities. Can they take advantage of this one?
Nazarov picks up and centers to Lim, and she goes all the way across the field for Derek Clancy. There's a gainer to space for Rudin, and now they're going to challenge Faye with a throw to Desmond. Plenty of separation. Claire Desmond claps that in, and Fury gets that break right when they needed it, and they reclaim the lead and the advantage, 12-11.
And that is exactly what Fury has been looking for. They finally get some good attack out of the transition. And 2 beautiful throws. Gets them a goal, and they go back in front 12-11.
Desmond putting together an impressive performance so far. 3 assists and 2 goals to her name. And meanwhile, Jenny Fay, who had a 5 assist and I believe maybe a goal in the first half. She has just a single assist in the second half. Nope, just 5 assists. 5 assists in the first half, just. No big deal. But only 1 in the second half, so a little bit quieter here. Big play for Fury right when they needed it. And now, just as the pressure was shifted to them a few points ago by this Scandal team, they give it right back. And a beautiful hanging pull is going to let the defense set early. Fay centers in with Diani all over her. Zone defense here from Fury. Trying to take away these upfield options, and so far it has been effective. And there, a block. Sharon Lynn just seeing that reset coming and easily jumps into the lane. Snyder dishes to Jorgensen. And that's a Fury break. And that is the game. Fury advances to the semifinals with a great late game performance. Back-to-back breaks. This one from Snyder to Jorgensen to seal the deal, 13-11.
Well, just the mental fortitude to give up 2 breaks in a row, go down, and then be able to go out and get the breaks that have eluded you all game. And what looked like we might see a big Scandal comeback turns into a very well-earned Fury victory. Some excellent offense from Fury in this game. And really, if their defensive conversion rate is higher, this game wouldn't have been close. And I think if you're Fury's coaching staff, you have to feel pretty good about the fundamentals of your team as you look ahead to bigger games later today and, of course, to Nationals in just about a month from now.
And they've been looking to get some big wins. Both of these teams have. Fury has yet to defeat Riot, Molly Brown, or Riot, and they're going to get a chance to do that in the semifinals when they take on Seattle Riot. Scandal's big weekend comes a little flat on Sunday as they fall in the pre-semifinals. By score 13-11 is the final here. We'll be back with you in the next round to bring you a mixed semifinal. We'll get you the teams that we'll be bringing you shortly, but see if we can get you some details here before we head off the air.
Well, we do know that it will be Slow White taking on the winner of Mixtape versus CLX, but no updates from those teams about their game. Mixtape did take half 7-6, but we haven't heard about the conclusion of that at this point. So we'll let you know. A couple score updates, though, from the other divisions. Well, we know that Dragon Thrust defeated Metro North 13-9, so Dragon Thrust will face AMP in the other mixed semifinal. Double Wide and Johnny Bravo are down to the wire. Prairie Fire and Rhino are down to the wire. I don't believe those games have concluded yet. Molly Brown ended up winning 13-10 over Traffic, so they advanced to face Riot in the next round. Is that correct?
Brute Squad.
Brute Squad. And it will be this Fury team taking on Riot in the semifinals. So we'll get you up to speed on that. But for now, we are signing off here from the Harmony Sports Complex. 30 minutes until the next game, so join us then. ultiworld.com/live is where you can watch all of the games and keep up to date with scores and other happenings from here in Vancouver, Washington. Final score, San Francisco 13, Washington, D.C. 11.
Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go, keep down the field.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.